Yeah.
We're going to start momentarily. Thank you for coming. We're just gonna give 5 minutes grace period for people to just schlep in. Good afternoon. We're going to do 1 more minute, just giving people to get in from their jobs and signing in. We'll be on shortly. Thank you for your patience.
Recording in progress.
Mm.
It would be beneficial. Here I am giving the welcome and I'm on mute. So once again, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Community Board 12 Parks and Cultural Affairs Committee meeting. We're going to be calling this meeting to order at 6:37 p.m. It is March 11th, 2025, and I welcome you all. Bienvenidos. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. I don't have much to report other than, well, before we start, yeah, what? No, yeah, we don't have quorum yet, but we still, because we don't have any resolutions, we're just gonna get started anyway. So there's still no quorum. As we wait for quorum, we're gonna get started. Sorry to be redundant. So you're looking at our beautiful logo. If you would be so kind, please change your name so that it reflects the organization that you are representing. That way, when I'm calling on you, I call you respectfully by your full name and by the organization that you are representing. I do know most of you, but sometimes I do forget. So thank you very much. To the people that are in the Q&A as guests, if you are a panelist, or if you're part of a community organization and you're here to give an update, or if you are slated to speak tonight, please indicate on the Q&A that you wish to be promoted to panelists. Yes, anonymous attendee. Yes, I unmuted myself. Also, for the sake of keeping transparency within the public records, you can sit here, Anthony, because you're part of the board. In an effort to keep records public, questions have to be asked publicly with your name so that it goes into the minutes and into the transcript as a matter of public record. So unfortunately, I have been told that anonymous questions, we can answer them or we cannot. And that being said, with my report, I actually had the privilege of joining the first summit that was organized by the Riverside Park Conservancy. There were elected officials present, announcing initiatives, funding with regards to Riverside Park. It was also an event that afforded the opportunity for us to have robust discussions about the park. Of course, we all know that part of the park stretches to Community Board 12. So we had also discussions about moving forward. And among those discussions, we are pressing hard for the city council to approve the 1% for parks. So Gail Brewer was there, the beloved Gail Brewer. Sean, what's Sean's last name? Abreu, gracias. Sean Abreu was there. Council member De La Rosa could not be there. Unfortunately, she was sick, but it afforded us an opportunity to see community partnerships and those that collaborate with the Conservancy. The New York Restoration Project was also there, and they are, of course, regular presenters during this meeting. With that said, we're going to move into our second item in the agenda, where our local community organizations will announce their free programming in the community. Why don't we start with Joy Hecht? Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm with Harlem River Community Rowing. Can you guys hear me? Do we need a
That's picking that up.
I'm sorry?
Can folks hear me?
On the Zoom?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm with Harlem River Community Rowing. We're gearing up for our spring season to start. We're having a work day up in at the park on April 5th. And we'll be back on the water by mid-April, assuming no disasters and our boats are all working and stuff like that. We're doing a lot of things to try and expand our operations some this year and hopefully expand even more by next year. We have bitten the bullet and decided we can afford to buy a second 8-person racing shelf. Right now, we only have one. And if we can do that, we will be able to get a lot more people on the water because we'll have 2 8s instead of 1 8. We're getting a bit, this involves not only buying the boat, which is not terribly expensive, we're getting it secondhand from Ford and Prep, hopefully. But it takes a whole lot of other associated equipment as well. So it ends up costing way more than just the boat, but that's life. That will help us. We're really hoping to be able to raise the funds to buy another motorboat. If we can buy a second motorboat, we can have 2 coaches on the water at once, which means 2 separate practices on the water, which means lots more people. Don't know if we'll come up with that money or not. It's hard. We have applied for a lot of grants in the last year. We have a number of grants outstanding, some of which are lots of money, which would be amazing and awesome. But the big one is federal, so who knows if EPA will have any money for anything soon. Keeping our fingers crossed that we will get something that will enable us to also buy a motorboat. And so that's kind of where we are. We're going to be participating in the Friends of Inglewood Hill Park Earth Day event and probably City of Water Day as well. So we're figuring that stuff out. That's just community outreach. And an invitation to anybody here, anybody on the Zoom, if any of you wants to come out in our launch during the practice at some point and just see what it is we're doing, you are welcome. Send us an email. We're info@harlemrivercr.org. You really are welcome. You know, saying you could come out in a boat, that's way more complicated. In a rowing shell is way more complicated. But coming out and launch is lots of fun. You get to bullshit with the coach. You probably get to end the phone and get told to make videos of the rowers. And you get to fool around on the Harlem River, which is always fun.
When do these take place? At what time?
Well, we have practices every Saturday and Sunday morning, 8 to 12, basically, but then 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And then later in the season, we'll be having evening practices once the water's warm and the days are longer and all that stuff. But Saturday and Sunday mornings between 8 and 12.
Saturday, Sunday mornings
Yeah,
between
got
8
that.
and
Can
12.
you just repeat your website?
Website or email address?
What we said, Harlem River.
info@harlemrivercr.org is the email address to contact us. The website is harlemrivercr.org.
Thank you. It's for the
Sure.
minutes. Do we have questions?
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You alluded to City Water Day. What is that? I haven't heard of
City
it.
of Water Day is something run by, I think, the New York City Waterfront Alliance. It's in July. They have all different things going on all over the city. Anything, you know, it's really trying to get people to understand there's a lot of water in this city. And we should be using it. We should be not only next to it, but on it and hopefully in it. And so that's what City of Water Day is. They give out small grants to organizations to do events. And I'm going to a webinar tomorrow afternoon about how to apply for those grants. Jonna Lesord, who might be out there in one of those tiny little windows there, I'm not sure, is actually trying to sort of send out an email to all the human powered voters and the sailors saying, we should all talk to each other, or you should all talk to each other about what we want to do at City of Water Day. So we might do a joint thing, I'm not sure, you know, for us and Inwood Canoe and Community Sailing and New York and whoever else. But that's, you know, I think Janice said, let's try and all get together, and I'm like, yeah, great idea. So right now, I think she's actually trying to coordinate us to each other on that. But in the meantime, I'm doing this webinar now. Find out how to apply for money.
Before we get to the next entity, we have a new sort of like way to launch these meetings with these slideshows. And we have very good news, and this coming from a multilingual person such as myself. We actually have closed captioning capabilities on YouTube. I think this is Paola, this is YouTube, yes?
No, it's Zoom.
Oh, it's Zoom,
Yeah.
where now you can read the transcript in your preferred language. And as somebody whose second language is English, and who's a multilingual, this is very thrilling to me in terms of the language access and giving people the opportunity to understand what these meetings are about. So that is very, very nice. There's the slide there. Thank you. I also want to shout out to Alexis Marnell, my fabulous minute taker. Thank you. Can you take minutes in multiple languages? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
She is bilingual in Greek, so that I know, so. Also, oh, Danny's here. I think we have quorum now. So Danny is here. Danny's here. Here are the norms. Just a quick reminder of what norms of decorum are when we are running these meetings. I'll go over them for those of you. I hope you're able to read them, but on screen, but only board members are able to speak. Members of the public may only speak during the public session. No one may speak until granted the floor by the chair, one at a time. Members should not engage in back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Keep questions and comments under 2 minutes, which we already do, unless it's a formal presentation. Succinct and germane to the agenda. CB members who have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand. The chair will identify you when it is your turn to ensure you have a microphone. And the chat function should not be used for CB business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. That means the Q&A. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you're having or share information like an email address or web link that is already stated allowed during the meeting. So any questions or sharing of resources or emails should be done under the Q&A, not in the chat. The chat is only to address specific questions about technology, a repeat of addresses, or a repeat of programming. And all attendees must comply with the Manhattan Board President Code of Conduct. So here's the information in case you need it. Phone number, general email, and address. And of course, if you do want to get on the agenda to present, we ask that you do that by the third Thursday of the month to ensure that we have a fair agenda that adheres to the time limitations that we have. Otherwise, we would be here until 2 o'clock in the morning and we all have jobs and nobody's doing that. But thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share so that we can get back to our meeting or to our speakers. I'm going to continue with Catherine Hughes from the Morris Jamel Mansion.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Luana. We have a few things happening at the Morris Jamel Mansion. Upcoming March 19th for Women's History Month, we have beloved Andrea Arroyo speaking on the virtual parlor chat. That is Wednesday evening, March 9th at 7 p.m. You can register for it for free on our website. She's going to be speaking about her exhibit that is up right now at the mansion, which we have extended to the end of May. So please check that out. And the other upcoming event is an egg hunt, of course. It is that time of year, April 12th, from 12 to 3. We have an egg hunt happening at the mansion. It is going to be hopefully beautiful weather, and we will be outside this year, doing lots of fun activities, face painting, games, races, and egg hunting. We also have paranormal investigations happening right now. You can check our website for that. And finally, the update on the restoration to the exterior of the mansion is we have learned that the registration for the contractor is in the office of OMB. So we are very hopeful that they will be able to, management and budget. We're hoping that they will be able to send it on its way in a few months, so that we can break ground by August, September on the restoration. So I can put all of this into the Q&A, Alexis, so that you can share it.
So you can send it to me via email.
Yeah,
Okay.
Catherine, if you don't mind, just send it to Alexis, to her
Sure.
email, so that way for the minutes. Thank you so much. Danny has a question.
I have a quick question. How do you guys afford the budget to get those kinds of eggs for the egg hunt?
Well, they're going to be a little sweeter than the regular eggs that are so hard to get. They're going to be candy. So that is a little easier for us to manage. So that will be our egg hunt.
Last year, it was pouring, so I'm so happy that we're slated to have good weather, because I want to be there.
We are very, very hopeful.
Thank you. So we now have quorum at 6:52. Barbara, hello, welcome.
Hi, I'm up, am I unmuted?
Yes, you
Yes.
are.
Yeah, I'm up for minutes tonight, so I'll catch up on the minutes.
Sure, Barbara, because I can do it.
If you want, okay, all right. I'll be glad to do it.
My grant crunch is over, so.
Okay, thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Person I'm gonna call on is Kaya Samulkas, Friends of Inwood Hill.
Hi, hello. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
And my cat, of course, she's here. Okay, good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes, Kalinikta, to Alexis and me. We are having a great start to our spring stewardship season. We are doing a program of weekly events. We got a lot of questions last year saying, when's the next event? When can I come next? And the schedule was a little uncertain, so we're doing it every weekend, and we've gotten really great turnout. We are also getting ready for our Earth Day Festival, which is going to be April 26th. We do have a presentation coming later on in the evening, so I'm not going to get too bogged down in the weeds about it, but we're really excited to partner with community organizations, Harlem River Community Rowing, obviously, Friends of Bennett Park. So it's going to be a really great turnout. We're getting ready for City of Water Day, which is July 13th. And yes, Jana has tried to put together some consortium of water people, water adjacent people, and we're excited to be one of them. Inwood Canoe Club, I think, is going to be there. So we have just an enormous slate of events between now and late May. And we'll be discussing those later on, but I'm happy to say that we've got some grant funding coming in that we're really excited about. We are also hoping to get a lot of feedback on what our Earth Day programming is and could be from this community body. So stick around for what Chris Whitney, who's also here tonight, and I have to say, and we hope to see you at all of our events that will be ongoing through, I believe, until the end of May. The next one is coming up this Saturday at 10 a.m. in Inwood Hill Park. I don't have a website, but I do have an infographic. Alexis, I don't know if you can put pictures into the minutes, but I can definitely share if that would be helpful.
No, pictures right now is out of the bandwidth, I guess.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I can write it down and just kind of put it into a note format.
The blurb, right, we always appreciate if organizations and entities can write a blurb, so that will alleviate the volume that comes and the cognitive load that comes with taking minutes. So that can be forwarded to Alexis. Do you want to put your email? Do you want to say your email?
So
Yeah, go ahead.
a.marnellcd12@gmail.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
A.Marnell,
Yeah.
MARNEL,
One L.
Well,
Okay.
CB12?
CB12
CB12
at Gmail.
at Gmail. Barbara, you have a question?
Where were you able to get grants from, and where did you apply to?
That would be telling. It'll come up in our presentation, but yes, all will be revealed shortly.
Which presentation do you mean?
We are on the agenda, no? I submitted a request for our presentation for tonight.
You're not, unfortunately, Kaya, you're not on the, I don't see you on the agenda, but you can definitely bring it up during new business. I know that you, so that probably must have been a blip from the office. I apologize.
We can chat in the chat section, yes, but thank you so much.
I have one, right now I have two presentations, but I'll definitely give you the space to do it during new business. Is that okay?
Yes,
Excuse
that's
me,
fine. Thank you so
Luana,
much for
that's
accommodating.
part
I
of the
appreciate that.
programming now on your agenda. So unless it's outside of the, what, 10 minutes, I think that you allow, I don't want there to be a confusion because I thought that that's what we handled on the agenda, moving all the organizations so they can do their spiel.
Okay,
Unless something different, is it gonna be more than 10 minutes?
Well,
thank you.
it's
I
2 minutes for the
can-
programmatic updates now, right? And then 10 for a
Right.
separate presentation.
Exactly. So just for clarification, all organizations are more than welcome to come in as a walk-in and do a 2-minute programming announcement, so long as the programming is free for members of Community Board 12. And then for formal presentations that involve resolutions, capital projects, proposals, that is a separate agenda item. And
Correct.
that is 10 minutes, with the exception of Parks, which also has 10 minutes, unless Parks has an additional capital improvement presentation outside of the scope of announcing new initiatives as a city agency. Does that clarify, Paola?
Yeah, no, well, not for me, but for hopefully for them, yeah, it brings some clarification because Friends of Inwood Park didn't request a specific agenda item. I thought everything was under programming.
Okay, but we can do it during new business if it's a presentation that requires 10 minutes.
Yes. Okay,
And
that'd be
apparently
great.
it does. So during new business, can I have a motion or an agreement to that? During new business? Okay. Okay, thank you. Do you have any programming updates other than your presentation that you would like to announce during this time, 2 minutes?
Most of the updates are going to be in the presentation, so no, I'll let others use the time while we have it. So we. Pardon?
Robert Burke from Hudson Sailing.
Yeah, Luana, we're on for a presentation later, and I have updates for upcoming days there, so I can just cede the time till then.
Okay, so Kaya, are you presenting with Robert Burke? Because that's what I have here.
No, I'm presenting with Chris Whitney, our executive director.
Okay, so during new business, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so if I don't see, if any. Sorry about that. If any other organization is present and they would like to make a 2-minute programming announcement, please let me know in the Q&A and I will promote you to panelist. Okay, Jaziel Montes, hold on one second. Jaziel, if you can just indicate what organization you are representing, that will be great. I'll promote you to.
There's no need to do that. They're already allowed to talk. There's no need to do that.
Okay, Jaziel, I guess you're allowed to talk. I
Oh.
usually promote to panelists so we can see their faces.
Okay, no problem. Whichever way is fine. But that's me. Anyway, hello everybody. Good afternoon. I just
Internal
want to-
creations.
the Internal Creations, which we are a classical guitar arts not-for-profit based in Washington Heights. And this Saturday we have an amazing performance by a Puerto Rican guitarist named Leonela Alejandro, who is the Guitar Foundation of America competition winner, and she's currently on tour, and she's graciously making a stop in Washington Heights to perform for the community. I have emailed Alexis all the information as far as tickets is concerned and all that, but of course, as CB community members, I would love to have you VIP on me. So the show starts at 7 p.m. at Boricua College, the Manhattan campus on 157th, and it will be an amazing time. So this Saturday, March 15th at 7 p.m. I hope to see you there.
Thank you so much, Jaziel. We're having technological difficulties now. We need to continue the recording. Is it recording? I didn't touch it.
It says it's on YouTube, so it will just straight upload on YouTube.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. It did that last time and I don't know why,
It happened last
without
time.
touching it. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to do any questions for Jaziel? Thank you so much, Jaziel, for that.
Appreciate
Yes,
it.
Barbara.
You're muted,
You're
Barb.
muted, Barbara.
Okay. Giselle, did you contact the Association of Dominican Classical Artists?
I did not.
Please do that, because they have a very good group of, not only themselves, but they have a very good group of young, flourishing musicians in the middle school through high school level. And that would be a great, great event to bring them to.
Absolutely. Can you repeat the name again, please?
Association of Dominican Classical Artists.
Of Dominican.
And I'm sure that Ebenezer can give you the phone number for them.
Fantastic.
Well,
Will do.
under ADCA, ADCA,
ADCA, got it.
ADCA.
Thank
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Usually have a concert series in City College, but because that's not part of the Community Board 12, we usually don't make those announcements. But they do have sort of like a residency at City College, if anybody wants to check it out. Just in time, Marty Collins from NOMA, the Northern Manhattan Art Alliance.
Right on cue. Very good. Thank you all very much. I want to invite you to several events that are coming up in the next few weeks. First, we invite you to the opening of our 16th annual
Not yet.
exhibition, Women in the Heights, with 43 artists from El
Oh.
Barrio, Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood. The exhibition title this year is Hair Untangling
I
Identity.
don't know who's presenting.
And there'll be, the opening will be on Thursday,
Recognizing.
this Thursday, February, March 13th.
Got it, got it.
Hang on, they can't hear us.
All right, no, I got it, yep. Somehow I muted ourselves, okay. Should we-
At what point do we mute?
Go back a little bit.
Just go back a little bit.
All right.
So
So-
sorry about that.
That's
It's
all right.
difficult to manage the chat, the Q&A, unmuting people, muting people, and then I muted ourselves, so my
Yeah, it's like
apologies.
being on Hollywood
I'll
Square.
give you 1 minute. How about that? Because you have 30 seconds left.
Well, let me give them what.
So I
they
think
missed.
everybody got hair, the
Let
exhibit,
me give them what they missed in 15 seconds.
great.
Everything that I'm going to discuss and will discuss in the next 90 seconds is on the website, nomanyc.org, NOMAANYC.org. That includes the exhibition, which opens this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. It's free and open to the public. The poster contest, $2,000 grand prize, 1,000 second, 500 third prize. And Noma Labs, our workshop will continue this Thursday with some artist called Danny Bonilla. An intro to figure drawing at Noma's Gallery. Members are free, non-members are $10. We will have on Thursday, June 27th, with the West Harlem Arts Alliance, a workshop on artists and arts organizations becoming a 501c3. You can see the details of that. It's free and open to the public on our website. It'll be at the Dance Theater of Harlem, which is 12 blocks south of here, and the mingle afterwards will be at Scion Cafe. We encourage everybody to submit their events for the Uptown Art Stroll printed guide by May 1st. This
May
is our
1st.
56-page guide last year, and you can submit them to our website. Our calendar's there. It's free to do so. You can also see award-winning jazz impresario Emmett Cohen live at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, March 20th at Harlem School of the Arts with a $10 suggested donation to benefit the Harlem School of the Arts Summer Camp for Children. And lastly, we invite everybody to the 23rd Uptown Art Stroll opening reception, which will take place Friday, May 30th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Lee C. Bollinger Forum on West 125th Street in Broadway to celebrate the honorees, one of whom's in the room, but we'll name members for the moment, and enjoy the evening with free food and refreshments open to everybody. That's Friday, May 30th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. at Bollinger Forum on 125th in Broadway. I will leave everything on the table with regards to that. I sent you my report earlier today and asked if you would to please cut it in half, place it in the chat so it's 1,000 characters each and fits in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. Yeah. Did you send it to Alexis also?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I don't have access to my email here because this is the district computer, but we'll find a way to do it. Would the honoree just happen to have the initials DB? Blink twice if he does. Yes. Our very own Danny Bonilla. Yes, very good. Do we have any questions for Marty at NOMA? Please let me know in the chat.
He's also giving a workshop, as I
Yeah, it's
mentioned.
Thursday.
next
Not
Thursday.
next Thursday.
Danny, say it.
Next Thursday, there's a figure drawing workshop. Is it 2 hours, right? It's 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We're gonna keep people busy.
Right. It's gonna be a 2 hour life drawing class, basically, like just drawing figures, like drawing people, getting their movement and all that stuff. It's gonna be fun. I might have to do some posing, so that's gonna be interesting.
Okay, do we have any questions for Marty? All right, I don't see anybody online with a question or anybody present. I think that does it. Are you here to present on behalf of an organization? I know that you just walked in. Welcome.
Presentation regarding the playground and park, so I don't think.
Oh, is this your email that you sent? Or are you bringing up the concern with Bennett?
I'm just gonna bring up the concerns regarding Wright Rose Playground, so I have to wait on that.
Okay, good. Yeah, during new business then. And hopefully, or you can ask your question during Parks report.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
They're not here. She sent us.
Where is it?
They're not on.
They're not coming? Where is it?
Alexis, did you get my email?
I just gotta switch over to mine.
Yours, you can.
Give me a second.
Do you want to do it?
Yes, I'm gonna check something. Just give me a second, Marty, because you sent it
Thank
to
you.
my,
You Cut my report in half. It's 1,000 characters each and it fits with two cut and paste. As it did at CB9 last week
I don't.
into
think it did.
CB12's chat.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Marnell 50 at email.
Hey, Marnell 50.
I'll resend it to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, the gentleman.
He's here with,
That's what I
yeah,
thought. I just.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so while we get the report on parks, Alexis will do that for us. We're going to, is it okay if we skip it and get to the EDC presentation while Alexis, you can do it now?
Yes, I can.
Alexis, take it away, my fabulous co-chair.
Okay, so Jana and could not attend. They have, her and Chris were both booked. So community notes, Hudson River Greenway, new sinkhole is barricaded off north of Inspiration Point. Internal Parks and Infrastructure team is reviewing and will advise. J. Hood Park restrooms, they're closing them until March 20th due to the chronic drug usage daily that has been requiring their staff to open and close several times a day. They do this in hopes of changing usage patterns. Bennett Park lights, Department of Transportation, Con Edison got them back on. Fort Tryon Park dog run lights reported to DOT, usually takes at least 10 days to resolve. Billings Lawn, Fort Tryon Park Trust won a $50,000 grant from Con Edison to restore the lawn and address chronic erosion issues. Working with contractor now to determine start and end dates. The lawn will likely have to close between April and May to begin work. All permitted events or events wanting to be permitted can consider Dongan or Cafe Lawn. Capital project update. Bennett Park, ribbon cutting, TBD. Patrons with dogs off leash continue to be addressed by PEP team. No dogs allowed off leash at any time, any place in the park, or any park in this. That was me. Cascade restrooms anticipated completion spring 25. Monsignor Ket restrooms anticipated completion May. Dykeman Field soccer field getting up. She'll have an update. She has an update tomorrow, so she'll have she has a meeting tomorrow, so she'll get an update then. Lily Brown Playground reconstruction has begun to include 2 new play areas, seating and picnic areas, and an ADA ramp from Upper Riverside Drive. Inwood Ball Fields 1, 2, and 4. Reconstruction work begins next week to include lighting for Field 1, new ADA access, and restoration of the Art Deco bleachers. Inwood Ball Field 6, Peninsula, design phase and process. McKenna Square renovation, design process starting with community input meeting, waiting to be scheduled. We'll share with CB12 as soon as scheduled. Okay. Events, New York City Parks Job Fair. Wednesday, March 12th from 11 to 4 at Highbridge Rec Center. Then there's the guided birding and nature walk in Fort Tryon. Saturday, March 22nd from 2 to 3, meet at Dongan Long. Sherman at Broadway, sign up by visiting the events calendar at Fort Tryon Park Trust.org. April 12th, Easter egg hunt, Fort Tryon Park. April 19th, annual shearing of the Heathers Spring Kickoff, Fort Tryon Park, and second annual Northern Manhattan Earth Day Festival, April 26th, across Inwood, Fort Tryon, and Highbridge Parks.
This is fantastic. Look at your minutes right there.
I've never been so happy in my life.
I know you are giddy. You are giddy. So that was the report for parks. Unfortunately, we cannot allow for questions other than clarifying because we cannot speak on behalf of a city agency. And we do have some concerns with regards to dogs off leash in parks. We will address that as a matter of public record, but unfortunately answering questions pertaining to these specific issues and concerns, that is out of our scope. Barbara.
I wanted to say marvelous that the Monsignor Kett bathrooms will hopefully be up and running by May. I wanted to note that the Dykeman basketball season will also be starting, and that of course attracts 1,000 people or more. So I assume that the bathrooms there will get heavy use during those events. I think we should request that there be some kind of bathroom attendant that will freshen them up during those events, during those hours, because they'll be very heavily used. So I think we should request that be set up, because during those like 4 hours that the event will be going on, they'll need to be constantly freshened up.
Well, we can ask, but I don't know if that would be outside of the scope or the budgetary, we all know the budgetary issues with park. And of course, if we had 1% for parks, we could absolutely provide maintenance, because that would be part of the cost in terms of having staff to maintain these facilities, but can ask.
I know that in terms of Dykeman basketball, they do have to have some kind of budget for example, security concerns and maintenance concerns, for example, cleaning up garbage and stuff. So I would think that maintaining the bathroom could just be included underneath that, because that will be open then.
I think Alexis might know.
So having to deal with Marcus Garvey Park every July for the entire month, it does cost extra to get bathroom attendants. It's not included, so I mean, in that budget.
Right.
Even with garbage removal, garbage pickup.
Be done by
By
park
sanitation though. Wouldn't garbage be sanitation though, Barbara?
Not all the time.
Not all the time. Okay, I think Marty might have also some
Yeah,
insight.
Parks ended up in the current fiscal year budget getting 0.55% of the
0.55. Okay. Half of 1%.
$104 billion city budget, they got 0.55%. You do the math, and that's without merit.
Yeah, and I can say I can't tell you the amount, but from what we have to do for Marcus Garvey Park to get those attendants, it's expensive.
Oh, boy. Ask and thou shall be granted, I guess. Kelly Jordan, you have a question?
How are you? I work with Riverside Park, but we oversee part of Fort Washington as well. And I just wanted to say that I can pass along the comment about bathroom attendants to Jenna and Chris as well, and see what they can do to work on that.
Thank you so much.
That would only be during the basketball games, not all the time, just during the late afternoon evenings when those basketball games occur.
Yeah, those games.
And you said this is at Monsignor Kett?
Yes.
Those
Great,
games
I'll-
that most robust attendance are 7, 8 o'clock and later.
Right, evenings. Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions? I mean, we can't, unfortunately, we cannot, any other comments or concerns that you wish to be put on the record with regards to parks? Yes.
Yeah, good evening, I'm Damon Sebastian, I live on 156th Street. And my only concerns, it's not really concerns that I'd like to announce that we'd like to invite. When I say we, myself, some neighbors, a few parks personnel, and other execs. We're gonna do a walkthrough of the Wright Brothers Playground, 156th Street.
Yes, I got that invitation.
St. Nicholas, it's on 2 weeks from today at 3:30. So if that could mesh with whatever your agendas are, at 3:30 on the 25th of March, we're gonna do a walkthrough of the entire park. It's only a small playground between St. Nicholas and Amsterdam. We'd like everybody to come and do a vision of what's going on and what could happen and what we might need, and just to voice your opinions and just to actually see the playground. Because there's a soccer field about to be constructed, there's basketball courts, and there's the kiddie park. So we just want everybody to please attend, come down to the lower end of Washington Heights and come and visit.
Thank you.
Please.
Is that right on the public school or around the public
It's
school?
adjacent to the back of the school.
It's adjacent, because I know that that school was allocated monies
Yes.
for funding for the soccer field. And I know because I work very closely with that school. And that was a school, by the way, a little bit of trivia, where Tupac Shakur attended.
Yes.
Yes.
He attended that school, the Wright brothers,
So
yeah?
we really need a few people to come and just speak on it, look at it, and just support what we might need, and, just do a walkthrough with us at 3:30,
3:30, March 25th, you said?
March 25th, please. Everybody's invited.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you
All right.
and welcome. Barbara?
Yeah, I would like to comment. What is your name, sir?
Damon, last name Sebastian.
Sebastian, okay. I would like to invite you before that meeting, please come up to the #1 Dyckman Street stop and go turn, when you come off, turn right and see the Highbridge Dyckman Rest Playground that has just been opened.
Barbara's baby.
Barbara's baby, yes, my baby, yes. But what you'll see is what can be done to make a fabulous playground in a very small place. And I mean, it's really, the Parks Department did a really, really good job. And it's a very small niche vest pocket space. And it's really a very fine job. So I think if you go and look at that before we do a walkthrough of your spot, it will give you some really good ideas, how it's like built naturally built into the hillside, how it has, even in a small place, a really nice water feature. It even has a slide coming down the hillside, so the kids get a slide. It has challenging climbing material in there, very challenging climbing material, and very nice sitting areas for parents. So all those things were able to be incorporated into a very small area. So please go look at that first and let that then move your imagination over to what you say is a fairly small space at 156th Street, okay?
I thank you for that. I'll be there by next week, trust me.
And you will.
Okay. #1 Dyckman Street, #1. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited because this is what community is about, coming together to envision our common spaces. And I was aware, so hopefully I will be there too. I'm going to try and be there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I work closely with that school, so I'm very excited that you're here. With no further ado, any other questions? No other questions? Barbara, you have your hand up. Can you put it down, please, unless you have another question? Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to our presentations. Let me just make sure, Q&A, no questions there. We're going to have a presentation, an EDC presentation on the North Cove, the Academy Street project. So Tara Das, I think you are the person heading this presentation, so take it away. I believe you have sharing capabilities if you have a slideshow.
10 minutes, right?
Yep.
Yes, I do. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having us. Do want to also just double check before we dive in that Nate Harris also has sharing capabilities?
You said Nate Harris, like.
Well, everybody,
Nathaniel Harris. Okay, perfect. If everyone does on the panel side, then that's great.
everybody can share.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having us. My name is Tara Das. I'm an assistant vice president with our government and community relations team at EDC. I'm joined by Allison Shipley and Nathaniel Harris from the QRP team. They are our consultants on this project. Also Dennis Caramonte from the EDC Capital team and Maya Dutta from the NYC Parks team. As many of you know, this is a joint project between Parks and EDC, which is why we are all here on the line tonight. And I do also want to mention, not formally a part of this presentation, but we also have representation from the MedEquities team, Lauren George here, given the proximity of our projects next to each other. So we wanted to call that, to flag that for anyone who has questions related to how these projects intersect. But without further ado, I'll pass it to the QRP team to run through our project update for tonight.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. So hi, everyone. Again, Nate Harris here from QRP.
And Allison Shipley.
And we are landscape architects working on the Academy Street North Cove project. And I'm going to share my screen. So is that showing up for everybody?
No.
Not yet. There we go. Yes.
I'm excited to see this.
Okay, we're excited to share it. So thank you so much for having us tonight. We're here to talk about this project. And gonna just jump into our location map. So the project is two sites, the Academy Street site at 201st Street and 10th Ave, and the North Cove site at 207th, right north of the University Heights Bridge. And our goal tonight is to give you a project update and to let you know that the project is being split timeline-wise. So we're advancing the North Cove site first because the Academy Street site has some really extensive coordination happening with Con Edison because of the extensive infrastructure they have in that site. So instead of, holding all of it back, we want to get North Cove advanced as soon as possible to get a new park open for you all. So we're going to present the design for North Cove, and we are hoping for a letter of support because we hope to go to the Public Design Commission at the end of the month for North Cove. So gonna keep going here. So here's some photos of what North Cove looks like currently. You can walk into the site. This is an asphalt parking lot. And then you walk a little further and you get up to the edge of the water and you see the Bronx in the distance. This is the Cove at a high tide. A little key map over here for your orientation. And the views of the site are really amazing. You get these beautiful panoramic views of the river, the Bronx, the bridge, up and down the river. It's really spectacular. So we want to take advantage of that in our design. This is a little adjacent open space map that shows our nearest site, nearest adjacent park is Monsignor Kett Park, within a 5-minute walk radius. And this just shows this site is currently in the 100-year floodplain for coastal storms. So it has to be designed for resiliency and to recover quickly from coastal floods. And this slide is also about flooding, but rainfall flooding. And so the site isn't really subject to, these dark blue areas are places that are flooded during heavy rain events. So we're outside of that zone. This is just an existing conditions map to orient everyone. This is the rail yards over here to the north. The MedEquities, the new building, residential building to the south of our park. And this is the dead end of 9th Avenue near the bridge. So we have our parking lot here. There's a fringe of kind of dilapidated riprap. That's that pink jagged line there. That's the dilapidated edge. And this site was within the MedEquity zone, that tan construction zone. So it's been cleared. The site does have existing trees. because the site, as many of you know, this was a historic dumping ground. And so the site does have contamination issues. So because of that, we're going to need to remove some soil and to cap the existing soil with clean soil to make it safe for the public to use. So because of that, and because we're going to have to add a lot of soil to this park, we're going to have to remove existing trees, but they will be replaced with even more trees than exist currently. So we're going to add more trees than we've got. And just to remind everybody, this is a little summary of the outreach events that we did in 2023. And the gist here is that over 500 community members were engaged in the process. And the major kind of features that were requested were enhancements to the waterfront habitat, picnicking, just getting access to the water, play for kids, and then just site amenities like trees, paths, lighting, seating, drinking fountains. So our design goals are to really create a nature-focused park that's a passive space and to stabilize the deteriorating shoreline edge. So those are our 3 big goals. And I'm going to skip over these pretty quickly. These are details of each of the community input events, and we can go back to them if anybody has detailed questions. Some really cute kids from PS5 building maps. So again, just to remind everybody, our goal is to create a nature-focused park that offers really safe pedestrian access to the waterfront, provides a small feature for children's play, and stabilizes our deteriorating edge to protect from erosion and future floods. So without further ado, this is a rendering of the proposed design. So to orient everybody, this is the Mad Equity building here. So this is looking to the south. So we're on the north of that building. And this is the cul-de-sac. I'm hovering with my mouse here. This is the cul-de-sac dead end of 9th Avenue. And this is the rail yards over here. So this is the MTA access road. So we're proposing to have this like kind of generous, wide, welcoming entrance with seating and lighting and lots of planting to welcome people into the space. And then you have a choice to really go on 2 different paths. If you want to go to the north, you can walk out to this little kind of viewing area with some seating. These are some Adirondack chairs that we're proposing, kind of lounging. And then if you choose to go to the south, kind of hugging the building with this kind of curvy path, you can walk along. Just to point out here, the Mad Equities development is providing public restrooms. So these are these doors here, and a little maintenance space for Parks Department access. So you walk here, you could walk by the bathrooms. This is a small children's play area focused on climbing elements with a lot of kind of concrete, nature-focused pieces. We'll show you those more in a second. And then this leads you out into a river overlook, where you can sit in some picnic tables, take in this really great view, and feel like you're out looking out over the water. So that's rendering. Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. This is the connection. Mad Equities is currently building their public esplanade as well. So this seamlessly connects to what's being built by Mad. And that wraps around to 207th Street. So you can walk, in a full loop around the building. So jumping to our next rendering.
You have a couple of minutes left, Nathaniel, just letting you know.
Great. So I'll just show you this other view. Looking when you enter the park, and this is what the cove will look like with a new restored edge that's erosion resistant. This is the platform looking out into the water with the Bronx in the distance. We want to provide a lot of shade trees, a lot of natural plantings to really focus on habitat, especially for birds. We know this is Jim Cataldi and his work really focused on providing bird habitat. So all of our plantings are bird focused. This is the plan. I'm just going to kind of go quickly so we can get to the end of the presentation. This is our grading plan. We don't need to spend too much time there. Planting plan, don't need to spend too much time there. some sections. So you can see this is the overlook portion here. Oops, right. And this is kind of like the experience of being on both sides of the cove. And then again, like I said, we're really focusing on birds. So all of our plant selections are going to provide either food or shelter or cover for native bird species. Some of our plant selections, I'll go quickly through these. Some of our shrubs, grasses and perennials and ground covers. Our material selections, we're looking at hex block pavers, steel fencing, some rock edge at the edge of the cove, some informal seating, comfortable benches, ADA accessible picnic tables, other site amenities that you're probably familiar with from other NYC parks. This is some of what the play equipment we're proposing will look like. A lot of play panels, nature-focused play panels. And then that's where we're at. This is March 2025. We're presenting to you all and hope to go into complete the design next year.
Okay, thank you so much, Nathaniel. Thank you. This looks really, really exciting. Marty, you have a question.
Couple of questions. Number one, a robust number of trees. I've counted well over 3 dozen that I can see in that first schematic, and that was the one I wanted to ask you to tell us how much relief is there from the grade A flood zone that's there, and that goes back some 22 years ago from when Community Board 12 had a community emergency response team that was then initiated under the jurisdiction of then Borough President C. Virginia Fields. How much is that relief that we're looking at in the area of the picture that's nearest me, where those bollards are underneath the plank?
My question dovetails with this, so if you can answer
Sure.
both at once, is that a number of slides before it was a slide about flooding.
Yeah.
And you said flooding's an issue, but right there, there was like an orange line of a future high tide, where the expectations of where the tide to go. So just to sort of speak to both of those questions about how high the water is supposed to go, and what is this concern about the future high tide?
Yeah,
I think it's
so
2 more slides.
I'm going to show you, this is our grading plan here. I'm going to move the, okay. So this red dotted line is the existing mean high water line, and that's at elevation 1.7. And our park is up at elevation 12. So we have there's a lot of height between mean high water and the elevations that we're going to propose to build this park at. So
Nathaniel, I'm so sorry. Can you specify the measurement? Is it feet or like, yeah, meters?
Sorry, it's feet. It's feet below sea level. So
Feet above sea level.
or below. So anyways, this is the existing mean high water line. And I can go back to that slide about future high tides. That's this one. And this is from the open data source NYC flood mapper. So anybody can access this data and look at it. So our current high tide is roughly 1.7 feet above sea level. And 2050's high tide adds, from the New York City Panel on Climate Change data, anywhere from a low end scenario of 11 inches to a high end scenario of 30 inches of sea level rise in 2050. So our park is still well above these future levels.
Yeah, and just to chime in here, so we did look at all the sort of current data on proposed or anticipated sea level rise, the changing heights of what that would mean as far as mean high water, and we have designed the park to be significantly higher than those elevations. So we are raising it up significantly. Obviously, we have to meet the grade at the street. The grade here is fairly high at the street, but we are raising up the front edges, and you can see that all that stone and the riprap and the bulkheading underneath the platform will be protecting those upland areas. So we're adding some significant amount of fill to the park to keep it above the flood elevation.
Yeah.
Okay. I have several questions. I'm going to prioritize board members first to ask their questions and then members of the public. That said, Barbara, and then Daryl, followed by Kaya. I'm sorry, followed by Danny, then Kaya, then Joy. Okay, so Barbara, you're up.
All right, I had many conversations with James Cataldi about the North Cove, and I was there with him many times, even had the birds on my shoulders. There's no, you've given some service to planting some plants or flowers birds might like, but that area is to be a wetlands. Birds will go to a wetlands. I don't see any wetlands there. I don't see marsh. I don't see marsh grasses growing. I see a built up, basically bollard protected park, more like a levee than a wetlands. And so you really need to build out that there's actually a wetlands growing there. And so, that's what you show there is not a wetlands.
So I will just, let me respond. I'll say in this slide, we are evaluating the potential for a salt marsh and living shoreline. And we can't say for certain right now because of permitting constraints, whether that will be possible or not, but it's something that's being evaluated. And if EDC or Parks wants to add anything to that.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Dennis. Thanks, Nate. I just wanted to affirm what Nate said. Parks is really interested in improving the shoreline in this area and promoting some type of living shoreline or salt marsh. We're looking into potential opportunities, but as he said, there's some permitting constraints, so we're seeing what's feasible right now.
What is the permitting constraint? To have grass planted along the shoreline there, which also would be a good pollutant cleaner.
I am 1,000% on the same page and would love to plant salt marsh here if we can. The permitting constraint is from New York State EDC and from the DEC. Sorry, guys, DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, and the U.S. Army Corps, who prohibit adding fill into wetlands, waters of the United States, any kind of wetland that exists. So we would have to plant grasses there. We would have to add about maybe 2 feet of sand to get the right elevations for the grasses to thrive, for the salt marsh cordgrass to grow. And so we're just evaluating whether we can get that kind of permission from the regulators.
Yeah. So
are you trying for it?
Yeah.
I want to give somebody else an opportunity to ask a question, if that's okay, because we have a lot of questions. So that said, Daryl, ask your question.
All right, but Luana, I'm trying to make the point to you that if you don't do that, the birds are not really going to come. And the whole point of this was that this be a wetlands, and this is when all the junk was there, when all the horrible cars and all the junk was there was grass growing, and that's why the birds were coming. And this kind of design will exile the birds out. And this area there along the Harlem River is a very important stopover for bird migration. Very important stopover. So this is not an accessory. This is not a amenity. This is importantly germane to the ecology of the area.
I understand, Barbara, but I also want to give other members an opportunity to ask questions, and I'll get back to you to emphasize on that point. Okay?
Thank you.
There's no
Thank
back.
you.
Okay, thank you. Daryl?
I have 3 questions. I think they're
Can we do one at a time?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So that we can do rounds.
I
Yeah.
think the first one answers itself, I think.
Okay.
But so maybe just 2. But with the bathroom situation, that's being done by the building, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so do you know if there's a gender neutral, caregiver friendly bathroom that's associated with that as well?
There's 2 separate bathrooms. I think Lauren could answer that question.
But if there's 2, that just means there's men and women.
Well,
Separate stalls,
Oh,
inclusive.
We have Lauren George on, maybe she can.
Hi, yes, I'm Lauren. Hi, everybody. I work with Mad Equities, and I'm going to have to get back to you on the answer to that question. But thank you for the input, and I will note it and share back to the board.
I know that's something this committee has pushed for years, is gender neutral bathrooms, so just keeping that in mind. Also, I don't know if you can go to the schematic or whatever that looks like, you know, people walking on the thing. Yeah, like right there. Yeah, go back to where you just were.
Previous slide.
This one?
Yeah, that one. So I'm just trying to see, you can't really see it from that because that's on like the crux of the paths. But going down further, I'm just trying to figure out what's between the path and the rocks. Like I can see people trying to sit at the top there above the rocks. Is that what you anticipate?
Like back here?
There. Yes, exactly.
So there's a path, that's this path right here. So there's a wide paved path, 12 to 13 feet wide between, so it's, you know, obscured from the plantings right here. Does that make sense?
Go to the other one.
Yeah, go back to the other one.
So that's this path right here.
Between those trees, right there, yeah. I see people sitting there, is that right?
Right here?
No, further, this right there.
That's a bench. That's like a standard city park bench.
There's some benches.
Yeah, but what's right above the rocks is what I'm saying.
Above the rocks? I guess we don't understand.
I'm sorry, I just don't understand what you mean. So like right here?
No. Yes, I guess, relatively, but over on the other side.
So the rocks are at the top of the slope, and then the path is behind the rocks.
So
So the rocks is that dark edge
right here.
all the
So
way.
people are going to sit there.
Yes, they can sit there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The riprap, that part, the rock edge is at about a bench height.
Yeah. So the idea is that the rocks kind
Sorry.
of provide a visual cue, and if you were sort of had some sight impairment, you know, like that you wouldn't just be walking off into the water. So it provides some kind of
It's a barrier.
barrier that is still natural, allows you to sit on it without having to have a railing and everything all around here. So it kind of has dual purpose. You could sit on it, but if you are using a cane or you're not, you know,
Steady on your feet.
you're not just going to walk right off the edge there.
Got it. Thank you.
Danny, you had a question?
My question is, I think somewhere in the beginning, you guys do mention about a barbecue area. I just like see benches. I thought the design was gonna be more kind of like, not so, like you see like that park on 125th Street, kind of looks like something like that, where it's just like, oh, like let's just take out all the nature and just like put a path, throw some rocks, and you know, call it a park. It does look like to me that there's like kind of like, I would think that the building next to it also contributes to the way that that park should be kind of like looked at, you know, just to kind of like keep whatever aesthetics, because especially the fact that it seamlessly just goes all the way to the other side. I don't know. My question is mostly about like these barbecue areas that you guys were gonna put up there. It's okay. It's not, you know, it's like not my favorite, but it's cool. It looks nice. You guys worked on it like really well. I'll say that.
Thanks. Wait, so, you know, we have all these picnic tables here, so people can go out and have a picnic. You know, I guess maybe it's the wording of having, when we say picnic, meaning picnic slash, you know, you could take a picnic out there, but there's not actually barbecue pits. Is that what you mean?
Right. We're not currently.
Because like having a picnic and having a barbecue would totally be two different things.
Right.
And
Okay.
even along the side, that whole river right there, there's like a couple of parks, a couple of blocks down where they do have like small barbecue areas.
204th.
Yeah, so like if it is that you guys are providing barbecue areas out over there and like bigger picnics, like I wouldn't want to go to the back of the building to have to eat food and have a picnic per se. in the back of this like brand new building, I would kind of be intimidated to walk all the way back out over there to that little park.
Once you're there, you know, and it opens up to the river, you've got some great views where you can look out. But we do want to say that for the Academy Street site, which will be coming back, you know, later in the year, we're definitely including barbecue grills and picnic tables in that area. That's the site to the south of the Con Ed building that's looking over the Sherman Creek Cove.
Where we have more space.
And it's a much bigger site than this is, and that is going to have barbecue grills on it. Or at least
They're already existing at 204th, and there's ample opportunity, given the streetscape from Academy to 207th Street on the south side of the bridge, to put them on a cone that people can really buy into.
Okay, we still have a queue, and at this point, we still have 2 more presentations pending. So now I'm going to make a call to please have your questions addressed with specificity in terms of what is your question, and please be specific. Yes, Joy.
I was at several of the meetings, the public input meetings in 2023 on this. There was a lot of discussion at the time about on-water access at this park, not just next to the water access. And a lot of interest in the boathouse that could be used not only for rowing, but also for free kayaking and so on. Don't see any of that in this plan. The argument at that time was that because this is a quiet spot and boating activities do not make noise, unlike big barbecues and parties and everything, that those barbecues and parties would probably go at Academy Street, but that putting a boathouse here so that people could get on the water would be of interest. And so I don't see that in this plan, and I'd like to know why it has disappeared. The only place to do it would be at the far end, because you need the on-water access to be able to do this point, so it would be the furthest out. But I would really like to hear a discussion of that.
Did you hear the question, Nathaniel, about the boathouse, the building of the boathouse?
Yeah, we
so-
heard the questions. I think we can hand off to Maya from Parks to answer that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so because of the water depth at North Cove is tidal dependent and there's existing mudflats there, you're correct that boating access would have to happen on the water. We've talked extensively with our docks and marina folks, and they think boating access on the site is infeasible from a safety and cost perspective. So accommodating boating out on the site, out in the water, would require building a dock, which is incredibly expensive and difficult to maintain. Here at Parks, we have a lot of difficulty maintaining on-water docks. Even modest storms can really damage our in-water infrastructure. So because of this, we have deemed it infeasible to have boating access here on North Cove, unfortunately.
Yeah, the real question was a boat house, not just a dock. A place to store boats, because very few people can bring their boats to a launch and then have
Yeah.
boats.
Understood. Yeah, I think there's just not adequate space at this site to allow for that.
Where there is more space, it's not as suitable. I mean, it would be more suitable here because it's quiet. It's a quiet activity, but are you considering that for Academy Street where there's more space?
I don't think she heard you. And then I want to give also opportunity to Kaya to ask a question.
The question was, are you considering a boathouse at Academy Street where there is a lot more space?
Right now, we are not considering that, given that there are other areas in Inwood that do accommodate boating. It's just not possible here, unfortunately, given the other wants for these sites.
So Kaya, you have a question?
Hi, yes, thank you so much. You kind of all stole the words out of my mouth. You had a lot of good points. So I will say that in terms of the design of the park, what's been outlined, I want to echo what Barbara has stated. This really has been envisioned by a lot of people. Danny has echoed this, Barbara has echoed this, as more of a wildlife refuge, more of a saltwater wetlands. I know that Sherman Creek Park is immediately south of where you're going to be, and also north of Academy Street Parks would form basically a living shoreline of saltwater wetlands. We have also had our challenges with getting a permit from the DEC. I understand those struggles, but if as a 501c3, and as a small community group, we can try to do something like that, I would hope that the EDC would be able to accommodate something similar. So I want to echo that and just make sure that it's very clear what the community support is for this. I also wanted to know if there's going to be a name decided for this park, if it's specifically going to be North Cove Park, or if there's going to be a specific mention for the work that Mr. Cataldi has done and how active he was in changing it, in shaping it, and how much he supported this type of work that would be a wildlife refuge and a saltwater marsh in perpetuity.
Yeah, so I think I can take the first part and then I'll hand it off to Maya to answer on the naming. So understood on the salt marsh. We understand that this is a priority for the community. As we mentioned, we are looking into this and we are hopeful to be able to provide that. But as we're going forward to PDC, we want to make sure we're presenting what we can do and are making sure that we are calling out that there's a potential where the salt marsh would not be able to be accommodated because of DEC. So just sort of calling that out specifically. But we are continuing to press forward on that and looking to incorporate if possible. So that's the salt marsh option. And then Maya for the naming, I think you can take over from there.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. So definitely parks cannot officially name a park until the property is ours, which will happen after construction. But the name of the park can be a community-driven process. So often what a community board can do is recommend a specific name to parks through letters of support from the board and also coordinating with your local elected official. So that way, when the time comes, it's clear to parks the community preference for a name for the park. So yeah, it's definitely a possibility.
And I think that we are all very open to renaming the park and to, honoring Jim Cataldi.
Can't hear you.
Yes.
I got it. I will say one
He's
concern
open
that
to and recognizing Jim's.
I will say one concern that I do have is we have a very large barbecue area in Inwood Hill Park that is the single most degraded area of our park. The amount of foot traffic that it gets has basically killed all vegetation. The amount of trash is really problematic. It's very difficult to get anything to grow and live there. We had a fire 2 weeks ago after we thought we were done with fires. So if there is going to be a barbecue area, I understand the desire for it on communities. We should have, one on each side of the water, but the maintenance that is going to have to go into maintaining not just a barbecue, but the barbecue cleanup area, and especially since you're right on the water, people just throwing, oh, the garbage can is overfilled, so I throw my trash directly into the water, is something that you really need to be concerned about. And given the amount of people who are saying we want this to be a saltwater marsh, if there's a barbecue area directly next to it, the environmental protections that need to be in place for that are more strenuous than ever. So
just to be clear, we do not have a barbecue.
Okay, I wasn't
picnic
sure.
tables,
Danny's
people could
very
bring their own
convincing.
food, but yeah, we do not have a barbecue on this site.
That is
Gotcha.
a good point, even when we are thinking of barbecues, that we'll have to make sure we have plenty of trash receptacles. Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
That's
All right.
important. And a robust number of trash receptacles.
Which they were sure. Carol, you had one more question or was it answered?
Yeah, no, I just have one more question. On the north side of the park there at the end, well, along the access road, is there a reason it ends there?
Well, that's the kind of shape of the existing land. Like you're talking about right here?
Yeah, I mean, like we can't go up further alongside the access road.
We're actually building land on this side of the park because it's the sunniest part of the site. So you can see this existing mean high water, this dashed line here. We're actually pushing out this way so that we can give people this seating option.
Yeah,
Did
we're trying to balance the cut and fill to get the permitting. So we're cutting in a little bit in that area where you can see the salt marsh, but there's a limit to how far out we can go. So at the moment, this is kind of like we're maxing out the additional land that we can put, but we did think it was important to have access on both sides. Like right now, there really isn't access on that north side at all. You just don't have that, but we didn't want everybody to be just sitting on the south side by the building, looking over to MTA. So by adding that path on the north side, it gives you like more viewpoints and you can be around the cove and you can look out more into the river. So, I think
Thank you.
That's our goal there, was to kind of bring people all around the cove.
Okay. And I would imagine that it would incur an additional cost to extend it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like if you add something there, you have to take away from somewhere else. So it's just a limit, you know,
Kind of a
like
balance.
more of one, less of the other. So
Okay.
I want to do a time.
May I speak?
Alexis is next. So
Oh,
it's
thank you.
Alexis, Danny, you, Barbara, and then Marty, because community board members go first. Okay, Alexis?
Thank you. This is just a statement. We cannot talk over each other. The people deserve the respect. The people that are asking the question deserve the respect to be heard. And the people responding to that deserves to be heard. And cross-talking and calling out is just not good form. So please refrain from doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. Danny, you're next. And I'm going to just press upon the issue to please ask a question to everybody. Yes.
It was just kind of like piggybacking off of what Daryl said. It would have been cool if they would have just wrapped that whole thing around. Just looking at a satellite map, there is a kind of like a little piece of land that over there, and it looks like an old place where they had pier. It seems like there's like an old pier or something like out over there.
It's up over here.
Yeah, a little bit up north and all that stuff, because there is gonna be a building on the south side casting a shadow at some point
Right.
over there. So I don't know why you would call that side the more sunnier side. You know, when there is a building right behind there that's 30 stories tall.
Yeah, I mean, this is the building right here. So up against the building is going to be the shadiest point.
yeah.
And then this is the farthest away from the building. So it's going to give you more sun. But in terms of wrapping, this is the MTA access road that's not publicly accessible. So there's no
Well, also,
opportunity to connect to that
where
pier out
where the old pier is, where you see that on the map, that's actually outside of the property line, outside of the property that's available for this park. So it's a whole different lot that doesn't belong to
Yeah.
this property. So we can't really stretch up that far, unfortunately. But
No eminent domain.
Barbara, you had a question as a board member?
Yes, I see that you only have, was it 5 picnic tables and 4 cafe tables? I would think, is it not possible to, put in more? For example, I see there where you have pebble seats. Could you not make those cafe tables? Or possibly toward where the MTA access road is, possibly put in a few more cafe tables? Because I think that would relieve the, push for, it's too promenade. My feeling is it's too much of a static promenade, and you need more picnic seating.
I think we could look into that.
Yeah, so you see where there's a kitty corner from the picnic tables, you have the pebble seats.
Yes.
Possibly cafe tables could be there instead, would be possible, because they're not real big.
yeah,
And
we
then
have-
maybe where
Yeah.
it says MTA access road, have some kind of other picnic type seating, a cafe table or some kind of thing like that. I just think, my
Yeah.
feeling is it not too bench heavy rather than seating possible?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
over here, we're proposing Adirondack chairs. So
Okay,
they're small to see. I apologize. that they're
yeah, oh, okay,
not showing it.
uh-huh,
But so this is kind of like loungy over here.
okay,
Um,
okay.
So I think that'll be a really beautiful place to sit and take in the view. But I mean, we take your point. We could, you
Yeah.
know, look at the seating options.
We also do need to keep that path fairly open for parks maintenance vehicle to drive through along the south end. So the idea is that, like, say, a vehicle, like a parks truck could come through here
Have
and
the
drive around
necessary width.
and then make this turn around here. So we're trying not to get too crowded with furniture and, you know, not fill up everything, but just have space for people to move around and for the vehicles and maintenance. And you need the ambulance, like if there was something, God forbid, that happens in here, an ambulance has to be able
Needs
to
to be able
get
to get
through
out
as
to the
well.
edge.
So we can't, you know, it's a balancing act between having a lot of different types of seating and that kind of thing. We want to we don't want to make the paths wider. We want to maximize the planting areas. And so we're already like pushed to have this wide path. And then if we add more tables and stuff, potentially that's adding more
obstruction,
just more paving. But I think we could look at like maybe this area over here, more seating over here on this side. So definitely we take that.
Yeah, we'll take that for sure.
But not just seating, actually have where people can sit and eat and so forth,
Yes.
not benches, but
Right.
actual like the cafe table type thing.
Okay.
Okay, the order will go as following. Once again, the time is 8. We still have 2 more presentations that will probably elicit many more questions, and I'm just trying to be mindful. So Tracy, you want to ask your question?
Yeah.
Tracy, Marty, Joy, that's the order, and I'm going to close it right there. I have to make an executive decision because otherwise we're going to be circumlocucious.
Did you get any data or concrete feedback about whether or not children like log features?
We had
Log, L-O-G.
we had a session with the kids at PS5 where we had a lot of fun with them, getting them to design their own playgrounds. And when they were doing that, they were definitely into the idea of climbing on trees and logs and stones. So from that feedback, which I believe was a couple of different grades, we did get that, and we have used this kind of play equipment in some other parks. And I think it does, kids respond to it because it's kind of a change from the normal like post and platform type of play equipment where you just run up the thing and go down the slide, which is fine, but there's plenty of that in other locations. We are quite close to the Monsignor Kett playground, which has a lot of that traditional type of play equipment. And so we're trying to do something a little more natural that reflects, you know, the sort of natural goals for this park.
Thank you. Marty, and last question, Joy.
My question was answered.
Your question was answered. Thank you very much. Joy?
I'm just wondering, where is this report available online? And what
That's a
is
good
the
question.
planned public input process at this stage?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Where is this available online, the report, the plan, and the document presented? And what is the planned public input process on this?
Okay, so as far as where this is available online, Dennis, is this going to go up on the EDC website?
Yeah, we can share this up on the website. I know there was also a survey conducted during our 2023 engagement, so can also email that website link out to everyone who's responded there. And if there are other community meetings or anything like that you would want an update at, we're happy to. I'll put my email in the chat and feel free to reach out to me.
No, I don't mean an update, I mean public input.
Oh.
We did an extensive amount of public input back in 2023 when we started working on that, which you can see here. We had
I know, I was part of it.
Okay, so sorry, I'm not under.
Yeah, at this stage, there's we don't have any explicit public input points. That it'll be more about updates, and if we're happy to follow up with any of the changes that we talked about updating our design with as well. And obviously there's going to be the Academy Street project as well that we'll be coming back to update on. But in terms of as robust of an input process as we conducted in 2023, we won't have something that replicates that, since that's really what informed our design and what we are using to move this project forward. But there will certainly be, we'll be coming back for updates and input at community board presentations as this project progresses.
Thank you.
Is
Final question.
Yeah, it's like a quick land use question. Is the building, the Mad Equity building, sharing a pathway space with that park? Or is
Yes.
that right?
Hi, so I don't have renderings that look as pretty as this, but we do have landscape plans that I can share with the community board to, you know, for follow-up. Essentially, the east side of the property is going to be developed before this park is finished and have many of the same features as the park has in terms of the furniture. I wanted to mention earlier, there are 4 cafe tables planned for the private park side, I guess you can call it, which is going to be, I guess, if you go to the other slide, I think there's a view where you can actually see the wrap around the building. Maybe not.
No, I think
But yes, there will be plantings and permeable pavers and a pathway between the waterfront and the building, and then another, you know, area of plantings and trees between the pathway that's adjacent to the building and the waterfront pathway. That's the way that that space is going to be designed.
But just to sort of answer your question, so all of the stuff south of this red line and around the other side of the residential building is private MAD equities, but open to the public. And all of the stuff from the edge of this building out to the water, this is all a public park. So this is not developed by MAD equities. This is developed by the city, by EDC and Parks Department. And this is a completely public park, but this will have completely public access too, even though it's privately owned.
I thought it was like very important to ask that question because I was like looking at the map and that path that's like right next to that park shares the path with the building, because I know the park is like so small opposed to that path touching the building and then touching the water and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
listen,
Thank you so much. We will be looking forward to updates. And is there any place that we can access this information? If you want, you can send me the PowerPoint for me to forward and for me to have on record in case I get any kind of inquiries. And are there any emails or points of contact where people can reach out to you directly for more questions? Okay, so it's tdas@edc.nyc. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much.
are we to give them a letter of support today?
I understand that you need a letter of support or maybe even a resolution. I don't think we can do that yet unless there is sort of like pending upgrades or pending additions. I know that there are concerns, and I think that we would be remiss if we didn't get a full understanding in terms of the concerns that were brought up, including the marsh, the wild birds, migration, the bathrooms, and the picnic areas. So would it be out of the scope to ask for that information prior to writing the resolution or the letter of support? Or is that even a possibility? Can we be provided with those updates?
Yeah, and are you looking for something in writing or more for us to come back with a formal presentation on those points?
What do we want?
When do they need it by?
When do you need it by?
So we're looking to submit to PDC by March 28th.
By March 28th.
Then we need to do an executive committee, wouldn't we?
So we need to do it in executive committee then. If you can provide us with that information, that'll be great. Barbara, I'm going to accept a final comment on this because we still have 2 more presentations that we have to get to. And it's 8:09.
We can write a sort of a resolution with reservations where we can say they presented to us, and that while overall we welcome that a park that will be flood resistant and offer public access and provide playground and so forth, we do have the following reservations which you just enumerated, and therefore subject to meeting these reservations, we approve of this. I mean, we can basically say this is good and we have these reservations, and that can go to the EDC. And that especially waterfront wildlife was in every public meeting practically that was held, the wildlife, if you look even at their slides, the wildlife issue was first and foremost. So we can send that along, which is an honest evaluation. It would be important to send that rather than CB12 has no comment. CB12 passes on this. CB12 isn't interested, you know? I think it's important. So
I'm going to lean on you, Barbara, for that verbiage. And then once we write that, are we saying that we're writing a letter of support or a resolution?
You need a resolution.
we're writing a letter of, it's not a letter of support, it's a letter of evaluation. It's that a letter of review. CB12 has reviewed the plans of parks, and provisionally we make the following evaluation. We support these aspects of the plan. We have serious reservation about these deficits or these deficits or missing elements. Deficits or missing elements. Like the bathroom is kind of a missing element, you know. I'm
going to let Anthony Viola respond to this.
Yeah, so in order for the board to write a letter of any kind, the committees need to first reduce it down into a resolution, resolving what they are supporting or not supporting and any stipulations that they're setting forth. And after that is voted on, then Kathy and the office will produce a letter from that resolution that Kathy signs and sends.
Right.
So it has to be a resolution first.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for that. So Barbara, I'm going to lean on you for verbiage with regards to the concerns that we have. We will draft the resolution. Unfortunately, this resolution is going to be presented at executive next Monday because we don't have the resolution before us to vote on as a committee, and they need it by March 28th, which is after this committee meeting, okay?
All right, so I'll try to get it to you tomorrow. And maybe, are we allowed by email to send it to the committee members?
Absolutely.
Yes.
We are. Okay. All right. So I'll try to work something up tomorrow by with Alexis by going over the minutes and you know what we looked at.
And then I'll also contribute to part of the resolution.
Yeah, please. I'll send you something and you feel free to change it as you wish. Okay.
And then the
Thank you.
verbiage is for the areas of concern that were brought up. Anthony?
Yes.
So the executive committee meeting is Monday.
Yes.
So if you could, after this meeting, let Kathy know that you're bringing this to exec.
Absolutely.
So she's aware, and she'll give you a sense of when we need the final draft by to circulate with the rest of those committee members.
Fun times.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. With that said,
Just thank you all so much. Really, really, really appreciate it.
yes, it was presented. You just missed the presentation. EDC just concluded the presentation. So we're going to move on to Robert Burke. Are you still here? Hudson River Community Sailing. Thank you for your patience and for sticking around.
I have my colleague Winnie is going to share a quick PowerPoint, and we'll be very quick. We only have 10 minutes. Can you share it, Winnie?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay. So I'm just going to use the first part of the meeting, just first couple minutes, just to update you on HRCS. Once you can get that presentation up.
try. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, well, I got it now. I think.
All right, let's just go back. So just everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just a little background on us. We started in 2008. We've been up at Dyckman Marina since 2018. This is our dual mission. One is around youth development. Winnie, who's joining me, is our youth development director up there, works in our public schools. Little overview of our programming. So Sail Academy is the name of that program that Winnie oversees. It's year-round, 100 students. There's lots of activities around STEM and learning. We have an adaptive program for people with disabilities that we launched up at Dyckman Marina. And we have a veteran sailing program. We do community days, and thank you, Luana, and others on this board who have really helped show up for that and help get the word out. And we've seen many of you there. Those are sort of free monthly sailing that we do. We have a membership that crosses between our two locations. Our main location is in Chelsea, but close to 2,000 participation days there. About 10% of our memberships is Dyckman only. We run a summer camp that's a fee-for-service program, although we have scholarships available, and we run lessons and other maritime education. So that's our model. Our Sail Academy is our deepest work. There's lots of different parts to it, but it's about math and science and sailing and projects and trips, and we have about 100 students. There's summer trips out to Shelter Island for a week, and there's a college access piece. We've really been working close with SUNY Maritime. A number of our graduates that you see there have gone on to SUNY Maritime from Inwood. And there's jobs, lots of jobs for the young people. This is the program we launched 3 years ago. We had a really nice piece on the news this year, but this is working with people with disabilities. We're the only one doing something like that in this area in terms of sailing and regular on-water recreation. We also host the Heroes on Hudson event, which we brought from Chelsea up to Dyckman. And then we have the community days that we mentioned. We really like to advertise those through the local council members. So Carmen De La Rosa's office has been great. You all have been great getting the word out, and they're always subscribed. And we really try to keep it to local residents. So we don't put it on our website or advertise. We don't really want the East Side, Upper East Side to come. We want Inwood, and so that's kind of how we do that. So that's what's coming up this year. We want to just make sure that we have it on your agenda. So you mentioned a few of these earlier on, but we'll be there. We've been calling it Car Free Day, but it's Earth Day, and that's where we'll kick off. And then we have a big public day with our Sail Academy graduation in June. We have another community day, and you can see the dates, but we'll get all that dates and information out to you. City of Water Day is that July 19th day there. So we'll continue to do that. And as you heard earlier in this call, we'll be working with some other groups on the City of Water Day and really trying to do a coordinated effort with Jana. But what I'm really here to talk to you about is
sorry, Robert.
Great to see that presentation by EDC. We saw a similar presentation at this board meeting in November of 2022 by the Parks Department. And at that meeting, we learned that there was a potential that Dyckman Marina was going to be closed, which was a big surprise, being really the biggest group working there. We asked a bunch of questions at this meeting. It was late in the meeting, just like this. Those questions were not answered, but you did pass a resolution, and you asked us to take those questions offline. Some of those questions is the marina going to be closed? Is the new docks going to accommodate adaptive, sailors with disabilities, which is a big part of our programming? None of those questions were really answered. In 2023, we finally got an in-person meeting after learning about that, and they started to suggest we look at other sites. We agree with the points of agreement that you all did. We think there should be investment in the waterfront, but we requested that there be staging, that some kind of staging plan that doesn't shut us down for several years. So at that point, we started meeting with a lot of the elected officials, see what we could find in terms of funding, really trying to work it out there. November of 2023, we finally got a letter in writing from the Parks Department that they would be closing. We were fortunate to get some help politically, and we finally got the deputy commissioner to request that the design team look at a staging option. So they were never going to look at it from the beginning. They said they thought it would cost too much, but they never wrote one. So they came back with a staging option that would have kept the fixed pier open, because one of the big changes that was made was moving that fixed pier south of the restaurant into the marina. So they came up with an option. It only cost $3 million. HRC went to a different design firm who came up with a much, much less expensive option, and we began to seek some money. So we met with, Congressman Espaillat's office. We met with state officials. We met with the senators as well, and we're hoping that we could get some money from either the IRA or, something like that to keep some kind of a option open. But shortly after, we didn't meet their deadline, it was unrealistic. And in October of last year, we were finally told that no staging would be considered, and we missed any funding, and the closure, which was scheduled for January of 2025, will start in January 2026. So it's a two-year closure, at least planned closure. So our, points are, they closed the 79th Street boat basin, and that was a 3-year closure. I believe it's over 5 at this point, and they haven't broken any ground. This program we're doing for people living with disabilities is really unique, and we can't do it other places. And it's a shame that it's going to go away because it was incubated here. This proposal doesn't do anything with these upland spaces. The facilities there are in really bad shape. That Quonset hut is really deteriorated, and it's not a great space for educational, it's just not, that's not the focus. And well, the parks will tell you, and will tell everybody, that they gave us alternatives. None of them were viable alternatives. One was 79th Street, which is a closed marina, but there's this pier that's open, but there's no accessibility. You can't get in there. You can't get in with a wheelchair or anything. So that's our point. We sent you a more detailed letter, Luana, about our position, because it's a little bit more nuanced. I want to be careful with our time, and we've started a letter writing campaign. We had a bunch of members on this call, but I think a lot of them wound up dropping off. But based on our current information, we know that we will be closed this time next year. That's what we know. We know that full DEC permitting has not happened, but we've requested whether that would postpone or not. We haven't gotten any answers. And our permit will run out in the spring of next year. And so we think it's a significant loss of program, staff, and economic activity for the neighborhood. I think our budget up there was in the $900,000 range for staff and people and young people. And we're looking for alternative places to run. We assured our school partners that we're committed to them. And I guess what we're asking is that we want you to, to review that project and make sure it still meets your expectations, because I think over the years, things have probably gotten more expensive. I think, one of the pieces was the park at the end of Dykeman, which again, we think it's all good stuff. We really do. We think it's but we think without investing in the upland, it's not well conceived. And we think there's probably money for the upland. When we talk to Congressman Espaillat's office, now of course a lot's changed, but at the time, and other offices, they suggested that it might be the kind of funding you would need to do something really nice on that beach for that park. And that's where we're at. So we don't know if there'll be a new RFP. If there is a new RFP, we'd want to see it prioritize youth and education and working with people with disabilities. It's not what we have in our permit now. They really wouldn't let us bring those things in because it wasn't really in the scope of what they put out the last time, which was just 6 boats for recreational sailing. And we want to be a community partner, not a recreational sailor only. So that's our presentation.
Thank you. Do we have any, I guess, Robert, can you clarify what the ask is other than review the project? Because if you're telling me that there was already a resolution passed, what's the ask?
Well, you passed a resolution in November of 2022 without full information from my perspective. If you look at the video from that meeting, Barbara, I believe you were there, and I asked questions. I mean, it was a bad way for us to learn about it. We shouldn't have learned about it at the community board meeting. But I asked questions about closure and so on, and none of them were answered. So you did pass a resolution, with the project. Our ask for you is to ask them to present now, make sure that it's still meeting the goals, make sure that it's still going to meet the goals. our other ask, which we've been told no, but we're still still asking, is that they consider a phasing plan. So they have one. It just puts a floating dock on the end of the fixed pier and then makes the fixed pier the last thing to come down. So, it would shut down the the marina part, but it would keep open. And the fishing pier and put something floating on there so that boats could come and go and that wouldn't be something closed. That would be, that's the staging. But at this point, I think the most useful would be to really review that project, make sure we're going to get what it is that is intended and what the outcomes. And for us, we're just going to have to figure out, how to survive. So we're looking at what we can do. It's huge and we didn't know about it. And
Barbara, you had a question? Or would you like to clarify? Anybody that was part of the board back then and was part of this resolution?
Exactly. I've been part of that for years. So let's both clarify, discuss, understand. I do some sailing up at Kingston at the Hudson River Maritime Museum. And the docks up there are these docks that are on pontoons. They're on practically oil drums, and what I don't understand, what's being closed is the Chelsea thing, right?
No, Dyckman Marina.
Dyckman Marina.
So they're closing from, yes, the project that you passed closes the marina because they're going to rebuild the fixed pier and then they're going to move it south of the restaurant and into the marina.
Into the marina, down to where the canoe club is. It's going to move down that way.
Closer to the restaurant, right across from the Quonset hut. That's where the new fixed pier will go in.
Okay.
The points of agreement, which is I think 2018, required the removal of the fixed pier, which is great. The thing needs to be done, and it required the build out, my understanding, of the Inwood Canoe Club, and it required the end of Dyckman Street transformation to park, and which I think are all great. I think the moving of the fixed pier changed the dynamics, and now they're redoing the marina. I don't think that was in the agreements, but.
Okay, so what I don't understand is it may not be adequate for people with disabilities, but why can't there be a pontoon pier be put in there temporarily? Like what they have up in Kingston.
Because they won't consider any phasing. Because they won't, so that the only phasing, we finally did get Stantec, their designer, to do a phasing plan, and it cost a bunch of money. But they weren't going to consider it. It hasn't gone to procurement yet, and they haven't gotten all their DEC permits. So, but they won't ask for phasing. They've been clear about that.
How much would phasing cost? In other words, what the pier in Kingston looks like. How much would it cost for a pier like that to hold six boats?
Yeah, I don't. So they came back with an estimate of over $3 million, Barbara, and then we went to another.
Really?
Yeah, we went to another marine design firm who came back with about half of that. We talked to some of the other big users like Clearwater and some of the other groups. Would it work for you? And it would work for them. So, but we think Parks should have put phasing into this from the beginning. Particularly if you look at what happened 79th Street, and they have a closed down marina. And what I'm saying is, you don't want to have a closed down space there for the next bunch of years either. And so in addition to HRCS going away, which is, I've invested and we've invested a lot of time, energy, and love. You also may not, get what you're thinking is going to happen with the whole thing. So I would suggest looking at it again.
So what would
I don't know.
What would it take to get a phase in your mind? Like when you spoke to Clearwater or spoke to Hudson River Maritime Museum, What would it take to get a phase in? How complicated is it to build a phase in?
I don't
A
know.
pontoon.
I don't know the answer, Barbara. I don't know. The pontoon docks don't have to cost that much money, but I would have to defer, the way that, parks would have to do it in a certain way. So I can't speak to it exactly. But
Because
the
even,
big here is
even
there.
Clearwater docks at a pontoon.
Yeah, everyone could dock at a floating dock.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bigger question, for me is what's the big vision? What's the vision there for the future? And if you have a Quonset hut that is not prioritizing, programming, what's the idea? And if it's another private boat marina, then it's a waste. And so we've been really making this point, and we want you to have our letter of like, these marinas should be gateways to the parks. A number of people mentioned that here. Like, let's make them gateways. Nonprofits like HRCS are doing that. We're getting hundreds of kids out and experiencing nature and the environment and doing that. Make them gateways. HRPT, where we are in Chelsea, has done that. And I think Dyckman and Inwood should be that model as well. Make these, and New York City Parks doesn't have to do the activities. We can take on the risk, but it has to plan for that. And this marina does not plan for that.
Yeah, well, I've always supported that.
Danny has a question. So I think the first thing before Danny asks his question is to look at the resolution, look at parks, understand the feasibility, and then take it from there and the possibilities, because like every other project, once a resolution is passed, it's very difficult to just roll back on that resolution. And we can invite the people involved to clarify, but then let's not put the horse before the carriage, because now we need to have a full understanding if there's even a possibility for what we're talking about. Because if Parks come back and says that it's a budget issue, then we would have to think about next steps. But Danny, you can ask your questions.
I remember when they came and they presented that, it was EDC, right?
Was it EDC?
No, it wasn't EDC, and it was the project from Parks. It was Chris Amy. I don't think EDC. I mean, I have to say that was an amazing presentation, and you guys did a great job asking some really great hard questions. It was not that level of presentation that we got. We did get a schematic of what the new pier would look like. And at that point, you may remember I said, well, can a wheelchair make that turn and go down? And everyone was like, it was at the end of the night. It was just like this. It was like, hey, wait, we can't go into too much, here. But it wasn't EDC. I don't think they might have been involved back in 2018, Danny, like earlier on, but I don't think they were there for this is November 2022.
I just went on the website and because I was trying to remember that meeting, and I'm just here looking on the Parks' website. It's still kind of in 50% design phase.
Okay.
So I would think that because I do remember that they were gonna come back to us with how it's gonna look like, because I do remember them having that new roundabout and that where the sandy areas and all that stuff, and kind of change that whole road. And then we were asking those questions about the pier and all that stuff. And then I also wonder too, if it is that they're doing that to maybe close also the Marina restaurant, because that's also going to disrupt business out of there during the summertime. And are they waiting maybe for that concession stand to end? Because I also think that La Marina concession is ending soon or something like that.
No.
We'll ask those.
Albert,
one second. Taradas is confirming that this is not an EDC project.
Okay, there you go.
The La Marina concession they're quite a few years out. It's not La Marina anymore, but that group. So, but I think what you're remembering too, you had a lot of questions about the end of Dyckman Street, turning that into a park and what that was going to look like. And that's my memory from the meeting, was there wasn't a lot of clarity on that yet. But they did present more the the inside space on the marina and where the new fixed pier was going to be. So, and we, pointed out to them, it came up earlier here too, like, we take care of the public bathrooms there. We're the ones in charge of that. And they're not adequate for a park, a new parkland, a new fixed pier. And there's no money in the project for that, and so that's another piece of like, how do you think about it? I don't know how they're thinking about it if we're not there. I guess they'll figure out how to take care of them. But right now, that's one of our requirements under the permit, is to take care of those public bathrooms near the Sandy area.
Thank you. Anthony?
So this is a comment more to the resolution process. So what is being proposed to do tonight, weighing in, doesn't contradict the resolution that was passed in 2022. You could, like you've done with the 1% resolutions you've been putting out year over year, just reaffirm that resolution with the added context and anything else that we can build on based on the information that we have now that we didn't have then.
Thank you. Yeah. But then that would require also a conversation with Parks just to gain clarity of what this is going to be looking like. What is the timeline? And then is there even a conversation about phasing rather than closing it down altogether? Okay.
Well,
thank you, Robert.
I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you
Thank you.
out on the water on those community days. And we're full ahead this season, and we're looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Kaya Samorkas, new business, a presentation, Friends of Inwood Hill Park.
I would just like to know, there is a question from Josh McGee.
No, it's more of a comment.
Well, okay, yeah, more of a comment. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yes, give me 1 second. I wasn't sure when we were going to finally get to me, but yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. So we are going to be presenting on the kind of state that FIP is in right now. We've had a lot of really exciting changes over the past year, and making sure everybody knows about them and how they can be involved in various ways. But then also specifically talking about our upcoming Earth Day Festival, and what we have planned currently, but then also ways in which we're looking to get feedback and community, not approval, but we hope that you can say that we're doing a pretty good job. And if we're missing out on anything, we would definitely like to know about it. So let me get into slideshow mode. I hope this works. If not, you're all just gonna have to bear with me just for a little bit, please.
Sharing capabilities, Kaya.
Do I have sharing capabilities? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's default that multiple participants can share.
Great. Okay. No, it's not you that I'm struggling with. It's with the Google Drive. Okay. Let's see what we can do. And I thought Chris Whitney was here with me. He might have run off to do bedtime with his kids, which I totally understand.
Chris Whitney is here.
Yeah, but he might be.
I've got it.
Okay. Okay. And I think everybody can see this.
Yes.
Great. All right, let's hit it. Slideshow mode. Is it in slideshow mode? If not, you'll see my notes, but it's nothing bad.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Hello. Excellent. Thank you so much. So I'm Kaya. I'm the stewardship director. I'm presenting on behalf of Chris Whitney, who is the one of the co-founders and the executive director of Friends of Inwood Hill Park. We're going to talk about where we've been, where we are, and where we're hoping to be. And I really hope to get everyone's feedback. Thank you so much for the brave, the few who've made it to the end of the night, and we can hopefully get something going. So the history of FIP actually dates back until the 1970s. A lot of people don't know this is actually the third iteration of it. Previously, there was an office on 207th Street with paid staff. That has kind of obviously is no longer the case. So it was co-founded in 2015 by Chris Whitney and the late Sally Fisher, who was a member of this very committee. And we're very proud that CB12 Parks Committee has also been very supportive and very considerate of us. So the refounding was back in 2015, and then we established a steering committee as helping form our day-to-day leadership in 2023 and secured our 501c3 nonprofit status in 2024. We are working to further organize and kind of maintain and improve our nonprofit in 2025. And our overall mission has, and will continue to be to celebrate and continue to steward in Woodhill Park in our community. So let's go to the next one. Yeah, there we go. So we do a lot with our community partners. We have a ton of people that we've worked with over the past decade now, which is very exciting to say. This includes New York City agencies. Obviously, the Parks Department is a big one. We work with the Urban Park Rangers. We've also worked a lot with our fellow nonprofits, the Shorewalkers, the Inwood Canoe Club, the Harlem River Community Rowing, to name a few. We've had a few corporate groups, which were very exciting for us because we love corporate volunteer donations. And we have various community-based organizations like the Inwood Butterfly Sanctuary. We're very excited to do work with them. Here's us with the president and treasurer of the Shorewalkers receiving an incredibly generous donation of $10,000. So big fan. And we have a very full calendar already. This doesn't even begin to cover it for 2025. So our spring season kicked off on March 1st, which, as I mentioned, leads to a weekly plan of stewardship days. We are going to be starting our Earth Day Festival on April 26th, which actually has an early launch with a sunset poetry hike the Friday beforehand. So this is a picture from last year's where we're at the Overlook watching the sun go down over Jersey. Riverkeeper Sweep, which is in partner with the national organization Riverkeeper, is May 3rd. Hike the Heights is June 7th, and we have a Sally Fisher Memorial Spur hike on the same day. We're having a summer social for our members. The City of Water Day is June 10th. So as you can see, we've got a lot going on. We're very excited for a very full calendar, and we hope everyone can be involved in some way over the course of the year. So this is our exciting launch for our 10th annual Earth Day Festival. As I said, it starts the Friday beforehand, and we go all day on Saturday. We start at 10 a.m. Partner tabling starts at 9, and you can kind of walk by and see who's going to be there and help them get set up. We are building on the success of our last festival, which had over 300 participants. My personal goal for this year is 500, but who's counting? And we have 3 main pillars of the event, which are stewardship, arts, education, and some bonus stuff. But those are the 3 that we're really, really focused on. So we do hikes led by DEC, which is the Department of Environmental Conservation at the state level. We have music in the park. We have kids planting. It's a really beautiful day. So to kind of touch on each of our 3 pillars, we are going to have the Sunset Poetry Hike, which is led by Donnie Welch. He is a gardener. He's a poet. He does a lot of work in Highbridge Park. I'm also very pleased to say that we're going to have the Kinesis Project Dance Theater, and that's going to be sort of scattered throughout the forest. That will be part of the hike. So all of the kids, and this is really aimed at being a family-friendly event, we'll be seeing dancers and musicians performing throughout the forest as they walk through. And as our closeout will be a performance by the People's Theater Project, which is based out of Inwood, soon to be coming to the North Cove. Oh, what do you call it? What's the name of the new space in North Cove? Luana, you know what I'm talking about? It's the Immigration Theater. We're like really excited about it.
Well, the People's Theater.
Yeah. So them, they've got this. Yes. So we're very excited. They're going to be our closeout, our big finale. Their youth group is going to be performing. I believe that's kids ages 9 to 14. A big focus on immigration, which is something we're really passionate about supporting right now in the park and in these park spaces, making sure everyone knows they are accessible to everyone. So it's a really good time. I'm really excited to see it. We're also going to be having a couple of really interesting education events. So the Urban Park Rangers are our partners in many things. They're going to be doing a bird migration hike, walking through the woods because we're right in the middle of bird migration season. We have a lot of tabling with various environmental and community organizations, Harlem Rowing already representing. And then the DEC is going to be leading their own separate hike. We're really excited about this. There's possibly also going to be something about mushrooms, but we're working on it. Stick with me. And then finally, we have stewardship, which is where I come in. So a lot of this is going to be concerned about the wildfires, and I'll touch on that shortly after. So we're looking to address the wildfire damaged area under the guidance of the New York City Parks Department. We had a walkthrough with the Natural Resources Group and also with Jana last week. That went really well. So looking at engaging community in a process of not just regeneration, not just work, but a sense of healing and of rebirth into these areas, feeling like they're taking a tangible, active part and have a sense of agency in these natural spaces is something we really want to encourage with everyone who arrives. That's a very physically strenuous activity, so if you're not super up for it, we have a pollinator garden that we are been actively caring for the past almost decade. So that's much closer to the park entrance, no steep walks anywhere, no stairs. And in the afternoon, also very family friendly, we do drop-in street tree care activities. That's going to be in partnership with the Friends of Bennett Park. And I think the Volunteers for Isham Park will also be making a tasteful appearance. So mulching, watering those street tree beds, removing weeds, and removing litter. And then I'm very pleased to say that the Partnership for Parks donated a number of bilingual picture books called 17 Trees to be precise, which is based on real life street tree care events that happened in New York City, in Harlem, I believe at 138th Street. Chris has a copy of the book. I don't have one on hand, but it's really cool. It's totally bilingual. It was funded by a primarily Spanish language organization, I think does quite a bit east, like the northernmost part of East Harlem. So we're really excited to have something that the kids can kind of take home in addition to the sense of like, I got involved in my green space and I made a tangible difference here. So I think this is going to be really cool. So as I alluded to, we had these wildfires. Everybody knows about it. Last year, we had over 11 acres burn after a 6-week prolonged drought. Inwood was actually the park that had the greatest burned area of New York City. So we're really trying to be as proactive as we can to engage our community and help start to rebuild the process of forest regeneration. I am incredibly proud to say that we received a grant for, drum roll, $20,000 from the City Parks Foundation. I can't believe it still. To address the erosion issues, because having all the plants burn off is bad for the soil, and for replanting. So we're looking at planting over 50 trees, which sounds like a small number, but there's plenty still there. So 50 trees, and then, additionally, shrubs, smaller plants, plugs of grasses, scattering seeds. So this is going to be a larger project that will hopefully connect not just us, but our community and our partnerships, talking about the ecology of the forest as an urban green space, but also about climate change, and a sense of climate resiliency, especially among younger people coming to the park and especially among kids, so that when they look at these effects of climate change, they don't say, oh my God, the world is ending, I'm going to, sit inside and cry. We want you to have a sense that I can make a difference. I can make tangible change in this space that I care about, and work on educating them to build that sense of knowledge and resiliency. And we also need to do a lot of monitoring to make sure that we don't get more fires, because one has already started in the barbecue area. Thankfully, FIDNY and the NYPD were very prompt in responding to that, and it was put out very, very quickly. So what's next for FIP in the short term, kind of outward facing, we're revamping our website, which has been a personal bugaboo of mine for the last year, and also working on expanding our communication channels just to have greater outreach so that people know what we're doing, coming to events and community meetings like this, liaising with Carmen de la Rosa's office to maybe get featured in her newsletter once or twice. Our greater community engagement is already ongoing, which I'm very pleased to say as the stewardship director, that we have these weekly stewardship events. More education opportunities are going to start as we get further into the spring planting season. And Art in the Park, Danny, I did throw that in for you. It's a shameless plug. We want you to come and hang out with us. And in, collaboration with all of the above, we want more collaboration. We want to do more with the people that we've worked with, for the last decade, and we want to have new partners that we haven't worked with before and get new events going on. There's a lot of sailing talking here. I've never sailed before. I've never been on a sailboat, maybe once on a sailboat. And that's a shame. And I think there's a great opportunity for FIP to be involved in that and speak out for people who want to make sure that public spaces are well maintained and well cared for. Kind of on that note, we are looking at recruiting new board members who can help achieve all of these goals, and also helped with a fundraising drive. It was great to get this one-time grant. It's unfortunate that we needed it for this purpose. We want to make sure that we can continue to sustain these efforts without anybody burning out, that maybe one day we can get paid staff, so it's not just me and you guys on a Tuesday night until 10 p.m. 11, I'm not driving. Anyways, yes. So that is it. This is our volunteer appreciation event. We all got really fun hats. If you want a hat, you can come volunteer with us and then you get to come to the party and we give you more hats. So we want to say thank you so much to all of our volunteers, to everyone who supported us, to the community board, to the community, period. And we would really love to connect with you. We would love to see how you want to be involved. If you want to volunteer or partner or donate, we have a PayPal now. You can do that. We also have an email list that goes out every other week. And we would love to hear your feedback on Earth Day and then on anything that, well, maybe not anything. Let's keep it to Earth Day so we can all go home soon. But thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kaya.
That was quick. That was pretty quick.
It's, yeah.
For you.
Yeah. Any questions for Kaya? This was great. As a matter of public, oh, you have a question, Darryl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple questions, sorry. Do you have any update on that? And this might not be for you. I just wondered what your take is on it. That bridge, that pedestrian bridge that goes between like the west side to up the hill. It's very dilapidated.
It is very dilapidated. You are right. I know that they were working on redoing the detour, but I haven't had any updates on when that's supposed to be reopened. Frankly, I was told it was done some time ago, but the reopening was, delayed for various reasons. And the fact that the fires happened right in that area definitely did not help.
There's some fires.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, no cross talking. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I just want to do one more. There was Josh McGee, just for a matter of public record, which will be included in the minutes. I'll text it to you, Alexis. As an Inwood community member who regularly volunteers as part of the HRCS Sail Academy Adaptive and Veteran Sailing Programs that Parks is closing down, I would like to read into the record that the community is currently planning numerous community and media actions over the coming year to specifically highlight that NYC Parks was unwilling to seriously consider a floating dock phasing option that preserves these vital and unique community programs for youth and veterans. So with that said, if there are no
Motion to adjourn?
announcements,
Second.
Alexis has an announcement.
Yeah.
Hold on, announcement.
That's right. So, for any arts organizations that are on, yesterday, the ACLU, along with Theater Communications Group, the Rhode Island Latino Arts National Queer Theater, and the Theater Offensive, advocated for the removal of funding restrictions from the National Endowment of the Arts that require applicants to certify that they will not promote gender ideology. So, today, they announced that the National Endowment for the Arts has agreed to remove the requirement that applicants certify they will not promote gender ideology by the March 11th deadline, which is the phase 1 of the NEA. The whole thing is due April 7th. This is a very crucial victory and provides needed relief for organizations that wish to apply for the current round of NEA funding without compromising their values.
Thank you.
Who's trying to suppress our art?
What do you think?
Thank you,
Motion
Alexis.
to adjourn.
Second.
Right, let's go.
With no other questions or comments, there is a motion to adjourn. Danny Bonilla, second by Darryl. Thank you so much at 8:54, 2 hours and a half.
Under 9 o'clock.
Under 9 o'clock, 6 minutes under 9 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.